This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Wednesday, February 15th, 2023. Let's talk about the news. From BBC News, Australia blocks coal mine to protect Great Barrier Reef. The Australian government has blocked the construction of a new coal mine using newly empowered environmental laws, a first for the country. Australia is rich with coal resources, and the government has thus long been enthralled to the coal industry. The current Labour government, though, which has passed a flurry of legislation related to environmental matters, in stark contrast to the previous government, which consistently did the exact opposite, has nixed this proposed new open-cut mine, which would operate for at least the next 20 years and would fly in the face of the government's larger plans to truncate emissions. From Deutsche Welle, Moldova's president accuses Russia of planning coup. Following the resignation of the nation's government mere days ago, the Moldovan president, who stuck around as the rest of the government stepped down, has publicly outlined a reported plot by the Russian government to surreptitiously overthrow the democratically elected government of Moldova and replace it with pro-Russian entities. These allegations have not been confirmed by outside sources beyond Ukrainian intelligence forces, who claim to have uncovered the plot and who shared its details with its neighbor. But the broad strokes are similar to what Russia has done elsewhere, including in Ukraine, using unmarked military forces in civilian clothes to cause trouble, instigate violence, and then nudge the country into chaos, which would then allow them to take the reins of the state on defense grounds and use Moldova as another base of operations for the conflict in neighboring Ukraine. Again, this hasn't been independently confirmed, but it is being used as a lever within the Moldovan government to push for more alignment with the European Union and to rapidly adopt laws that would allow the country's intelligence services and prosecutors the tools required to deal with the sorts of national security issues that would be theoretically leveraged. And from the Washington Post, now for sale, data on your mental health. A new study published by a research team at Duke University's Sanford School of Public Policy has outlined current examples and future ambitions to sell the private data collected by mental health-oriented apps. Much of this data seems to be anonymized and aggregated into batches that give a sense of what people and various groups are going through, but nothing specific about individual users. Some data brokers buying and reselling this data, though, offer specific data and other info that would allow individual users to be identified alongside mental health issues they are facing, like anxiety or depression. And some of these brokers offer free samples of such data to anyone who asks for it. There are laws in the US that prevent this sort of information from being leveraged in this way by hospitals, doctors' offices, and the like, but it doesn't currently cover mental health apps, and a lack of transparency and standards in this digital health realm have made it tricky for users to even know their data is being used in this way, much less figure out how to get it removed from datasets when that option is technically available. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.